You know, there's a baby growing in the womb. I get it. It's going to be a human. Doesn't bother me, but yes, it is murder. Again, doesn't bother me that it is.
Wait, what? Bill Maher just said abortion is murder, and he doesn't care. This is the same guy who spent decades as the left's attack dog, their go-to champion for progressive causes. And now he's casually admitting what conservatives have been saying all along, while simultaneously throwing his own side under the bus. But this bombshell, it's just the warm-up for what he does to CNN and Kamala Harris. Because when your own allies start telling the truth about you, that's when you know you're in deep trouble.
CNN is the place where both sides can watch. And
I'm talking about the people on CNN. And what I know what the conservative side of America thinks, and I don't blame them. They were just gushing about how great a speech it was. And I think she did fine. I didn't think it was as good as they were making it out to.
Caitlin Collins tried the classic deflection, we're balanced, and Maher basically said, no, you're not, and everyone can see it. When CNN's own liberal guests are calling out their obvious bias, that's not journalism, that's a PR disaster, but it gets worse.
It does look like tokenism. It's kind of like the same as The View.
I don't think that you can say that CNN is anything but fair. Everyone who was speaking last night, it's not like they were all Democrats. I mean, Dana Bash, Jake Tapper, Abby Phillip.
They come across
giving analysis.
They come across that way. In a moment like that, it was like 5-1. It always looks like 5-1.
Ouch. Maher just compared CNN to The View, the daytime talk show where one token conservative gets steamrolled by a panel of cackling liberals. That's not analysis, that's intellectual humiliation. And Collins' pathetic response? Naming Dana Bash and Jake Tapper like they're conservatives. Please. But if Maher's CNN takedown was brutal, wait until you see what he does to Kamala.
What did you say when Biden called you and said he wasn't running? Well, I immediately thought of him first. No, you didn't. You know, I mean, fracking. Dana Bash had her dead to rights. I was like, you said this. I have the quote. I'm reading it to you. You said there should be a ban on fracking. Why can't they just go, yeah, you know what? I got it wrong. I was talking to the wrong people. You know, she's had this ridiculously high turnover.
This is political malpractice at its finest. Kamala Harris got caught lying about fracking, not misremembering, not evolving, lying. Dana Bash had the receipts, read the quote verbatim, and Harris still tried to wiggle out of it. And Maher's calling it what it is, pathetic. When you can't own up to your own words, how can anyone trust you with the country? And this pattern of dishonesty, it's bleeding into the one demographic Democrats can't afford to lose.
So in 2020, young men and young women voted for Joe Biden at roughly the same rate. Over the last 4 years, and now with Kamala Harris, young women are voting for Kamala Harris at that same level, if not more. Kamala Harris has barely moved the needle with young men. They have gone more toward Trump. There's a lot of reasons for that. I think Trump has exploited culture war stuff. He appears on hyper masculine podcasts, and he just seems like a fun bro who's not going to ban your zins, you know?
This is the death blow to Kamala's campaign that nobody's talking about. Young men are fleeing the Democratic Party in record numbers. Why? Because Democrats have spent years telling them they're toxic, problematic, and part of the oppression structure. Meanwhile, Trump shows up on their podcast, speaks their language, and treats them like human beings instead of walking apologies.
This could actually be, if this is a real issue for Kamala Harris, though, like this could be fatal for her campaign. So if Democrats need to win 60% of the youth vote to win the White House. Hillary came up short. Obama did it. Biden did it. Kamala Harris is right now at like 55% of the youth vote. If she doesn't get to 60, she could lose the election. And it's because young men, Gen Z men, are breaking to Trump.
The math is brutal and simple. Democrats need 60% of young voters. Kamala's at 55%, and young men are bolting for Trump. That missing 5% isn't just a number. It's the difference between the White House and political oblivion. When your own strategy depends on a demographic you've been attacking for years, maybe it's time to reconsider your approach.
Conservatives do not trust CNN because it is so staunchly anti-Trump. He's not wrong, because they'll put on people like Adam Kinzinger or Anna Navarro, George Conway, and call them Republicans, or pretend that's being balanced by putting them on by saying, oh, see, these conservatives don't even like Trump. Only Scott Jennings over there can be called a conservative. And Maher is right. It's almost always 5-1 on shows they portray as news programs.
Their Republican guests aren't Republicans. They're Democrats with better resumes. Adam Kinzinger, Anna Navarro, George Conway. These people spend more time attacking Republicans than most Democrats do. It's not balance, it's theater. And when your own liberal allies are calling out the charade, you know the jig is up. Which brings us to the moment that reveals reveals everything about this broken system.
You know, she's had this ridiculously high turnover.
Here's the detail everyone's ignoring. Kamala Harris has had more staff turnover than a McDonald's during a labor shortage. When your own people keep quitting, that's not a staffing problem, that's a leadership problem. But instead of addressing why people can't work with her, the media keeps pretending she's presidential material. It's insanity. And this is where Maher delivers the final devastating blow.
What explains Donald Trump's appeal to young men? I saw today that the gender gap, I think, is the widest. I mean, it's very predictable. I mean, the women are much more for Kamala and the men are much more for Trump generally.
But it's not predictable if you look at past elections where voters under 30, generally men and women, went for Democrats. This is remarkable. I think to explain it...
Wait, you're talking about under 30?
Yeah, the under 30
What's going
gender
on
gap
there?
is very different than past elections.
Here's what Maher understands that CNN doesn't. You can't spin your way out of reality forever. Young men don't trust Democrats because Democrats don't respect young men. Voters don't trust the media because the media has become a propaganda arm. And Kamala can't connect with people because she's been shielded from real criticism for so long that she's forgotten how to be authentic. When election day comes, it won't be Republicans who defeated Kamala Harris. It'll be the very institutions that were supposed to protect her. CNN's fake coverage, the staff revolving door, the inability to own basic policy positions, and the alienation of an entire generation of young men. That's not political strategy, that's political suicide.
You know, there's a baby growing in the womb. I get it. It's going to be a human. Doesn't bother me. But yes, it is murder. Again, doesn't bother me that it is.
You're not supposed to mess with that. That's what many people think. You're supposed to let.
Oh, I see.
Great man upstairs.
Oh,
Yeah, it goes back to that It goes back to that stem cell debate that George Bush had.
Yes.
Remember? It goes like the Terry Shive. It's just like life, laugh. We support laugh.
Bill Maher didn't just critique CNN and Kamala Harris. He performed an autopsy on the entire Democratic media complex while the patient was still alive. When your own allies start admitting abortion is murder, calling out your fake balance, and exposing your candidate's fundamental dishonesty, you're not losing a news cycle, you're losing a worldview. The question isn't whether Kamala can recover from this. The question is whether the Democratic Party can recover from the truth their own people are finally willing to tell. What do you think? Is Maher's honesty a wake-up call for Democrats, or is it too little, too late? Drop your thoughts in the comments, smash that like button if this opened your eyes to something new, and subscribe, because when liberals start telling the truth about liberalism, you know we're living in interesting times.